feminism it's the biggest joke in the entire world. First off, nothing that feminism aspires to today, modern feminism, makes women happy. I don't even understand it anymore. Like, a guy opens a door and you're like, oh my God, why are you holding a door for me? I can do it myself.
So that's what it is. Like, what's the definition of like feminism?
Today, it's a shifting definition. There's been different waves of feminism, but today they pretend it's about equality with men. It's not. They actually hate men, and usually the people that are at the forefront of the feminist movement are the
basis of equality
that hate men.
Candace Owens argues that feminism, as we know it today, isn't empowering women. It's alienating them. Why? Because it's not about equality. It's about division.
Men and women are not the same. We are biologically different. We have biological predispositions. The idea that women should want to climb the top of a ladder and, go into corporate America and be there forever. Women want to have kids, right? So there's another reason that they're not making as much money as men is because a lot of women want to stay home with their children, which is an admirable goal, which feminism tries to wipe away. Like, oh, if you want to stay at home, something that women say to me all the time, why don't you make your husband a sandwich? Okay. Is he hungry? Does he want a sandwich? Like, did he say something? I make my husband food. The last 4 nights, I made my husband dinner. Like, I don't understand this weird maker. Like, they're trying to shame women for taking care of their families. Like, that is another element of feminism that I cannot stand. It's an attack on family.
Here's the irony. When women reject family life and dedicate themselves solely to the workplace, they face another issue feminism has created, the gender pay gap myth. Feminists claim that women are paid less than men simply because of gender. But is that really true? Let's take a closer look at how Owens dismantles this argument.
My question is just, I looked at some data while you were speaking about the gender pay gap in the UK and the US. So apparently it's 17% in the UK and 19% in the US.
No, it's not.
And it's WEF data. So I just looked at that.
The myth of the gender
World
pay gap.
Economic from in 2015.
Right.
In
So,
percentage.
Happy to talk about this.
So my question is basically, what do you think are the causes of this?
It doesn't exist.
Well, there's a cause for it. I'll tell you what it is.
And do you think there should be public measures to tackle it? And the causes and the public
Fair
reaction.
question. I get it all the time because obviously I'm like the anti-feminist. So people are always like, how can you deny the gender, the wage gap? Okay. So when I went to university, all of the girls that I was friends with were majoring in fashion and textiles and merchandising. And they all went off to intern at Vogue. And pick out Prada bags that maybe Kate Moss would wear on the cover of something. The average pay for that, if you want to be in fashion when you get out of school, is $20,000. Men were majoring in business and engineering and things that when you get out of school, you get paid more. If our interests, if we're going to go in and we're not going to be taking serious majors, and we're shocked when we find out the world doesn't need more people to pick out Prada bags for Kate Moss's shoot. I mean, that's not a gender wage gap. That's an interest gap, right? And that's what's happening. Also, women, we have different interests. Women aspire to get married, they aspire to have children. They leave the workforce earlier. Every single one of my girlfriends, what I'm saying is that a person that is a brain surgeon should not get paid the same amount as a person that wants to pick out Prada bags for the rest of her life. I mean, this is what's going on in America. When you look at the wage gap, they're not telling you what the jobs actually are and what women are going into in terms of their majors in university. When you're taking feminist dance class 101, you're not going to make 6 figures when you go out of university. That's just the truth. And women, if there was a real feminist movement, would talk about that, would say, hey, if you want to make as much as men, maybe we should be majoring in engineering and things like that. But we don't because we have different interests, which is fine. But you then can't complain and think that we should now have a society that forces, what are we going to do? Are we going to have like a government that says now we have to pay women that want to go into fashion 6 figures to make them feel good and like they're doing things that are productive in society? Like that's not a practical solution. If we want to get serious, if women want to make more than men, they do. It's actually been proven statistically in America that when they go into the same majors and take on the same jobs, women get paid more than men in those particular fields.
Here's the reality. It's not just about choosing a high-paying field. Regardless of gender, anyone aspiring to be an executive in a large company, a top academic, or a senior government official must bring more to the table. It takes the right skills, a strong work ethic, clear life goals, and most importantly, the time and effort to make it happen. Ambition alone isn't enough. It's the commitment to achieving it that matters. At the heart of the issue, Candace Owens ties feminism's radical shift to Marxist ideology. In her view, the true aim isn't equality. It's about dismantling the traditional family structure. She put it bluntly on X, There is no society that can survive without strong men. The East knows this. In the West, the steady feminization of our men, while Marxism is being pushed on our kids, isn't a coincidence. It's an outright attack. Bring back manly men. Marxist feminism has always framed the home as a site of oppression, which aligns with the broader Marxist agenda to break down the family unit in favor of collectivism. But why attack the family? Because it's the bedrock of society. It's where values are passed down, emotional bonds are built, and individuals find their support systems. Marxism thrives on weakening those foundations, pushing people toward dependency on the state instead of their families or communities. As Alexis de Tocqueville observed in 1848, democracy and socialism have nothing in common but one word: equality. But while democracy seeks equality and liberty, socialism seeks equality in restraint and servitude. In the same way, modern feminism doesn't aim for equality of opportunity. It pushes for equality of outcome. And it often achieves that by dismantling traditional structures, regardless of the consequences. Take, for instance, this 2015 case. The New York Fire Department allowed a woman to become a firefighter without passing the standard physical test, just to avoid a lawsuit. The women who did pass the test raised concerns. How could someone who can't meet the physical standard be expected to save lives in a burning building? In Australia, gender quotas introduced in 2017 required that for every male firefighter hired, a woman must also be hired, even if she didn't meet the physical requirements. This led to friction in the fire departments, as many men felt these quotas compromised team safety. Feminists quickly labeled this frustration as bullying, turning the workplace into a political battlefield. These examples highlight something crucial. The push for equality of outcome isn't about empowering women. It's about eroding the traditional roles of men, protectors and providers, and undermining the symbiotic balance between men and women. In a feminist world, the men on the sinking Titanic wouldn't have sacrificed their spots in the lifeboats for women and children. The ideological disdain for traditional values runs deep. Instead of fostering cooperation and mutual respect, feminism pits men and women against each other. And what's the result? A fragmented society where women's happiness and fulfillment are sacrificed in service of a political agenda.
Men need women and women need men. But you see, no man denies we need a woman. That's the irony. It is not unmasculine of me to acknowledge I need a good woman, but a woman needs a good man just as badly.
It's so true. It's so true. And it's sad because the symbiotic nature of me just getting married, for people to know, and now that I'm married, I'm just like, guys, oh my gosh, it was all a lie. When I say it was all a lie, it means I was raised to believe, if you, the classes I took, I mean, you're raised to believe you do not need a man. And not only do you not need a man, it is a token of how strong and how good you are if you do it without a man.
It's an achievement. That's right.
All a lie.
And you can have a child, and the child doesn't need a father.
No, it doesn't, because you can do it by yourself.
So passé.
Right.
Yeah.
And
the loneliest people are, by the way, according to polls, this is not a Republican or a conservative viewpoint. The loneliest people, according to the academic studies, are single parents.
I do not doubt that at all. And this is what I always say. I had a young black woman come up to me on campus. I spoke at Trinity College, I think in January. And she came up to me and she was doing her little routine about what we are saying that women can't do it without men. I said, no. I've never said a woman can't do it without a man. There have been tons of women who have lost their husbands in horrible, tragic, Kobe Bryant, you know, gone. Right? Do I think Vanessa just can't do it now? I think she can do it.
Correct.
But you know what? I know that it would have been easier and better if she had a partner that was beside her side. And that is the way that she would have preferred it, right? We should not be setting our preferences to doing it without men. If we have to, right? When we have to send the boys to war, it's a totally but that should not be, you shouldn't be encouraging women to want that, to pursue that, because you know what's on the other side of that. You know it's misery. You know it's unhappiness. Let them know the joys of marriage.
Dennis Prager and Candace Owens both agree. Marriage doesn't oppress women. It empowers them. Men and women complement each other perfectly, filling the gaps where the other falls short. But when women follow the feminist script, they sacrifice the joy of marriage for the misery of loneliness.
I mean, we now have the social scientific data. Since second wave feminism, since the 1970s, women have become less happy, not just relative to men, which is also true, but in absolute terms. And the left is shocked by this. They say, no, but now women have all of these new ideologies. Right, and it's making them miserable. maybe something's wrong with that ideology of feminism.
The data doesn't lie. Here's the cold, hard truth. Second-wave feminism promised liberation but delivered misery. Studies show women's happiness has declined for over 50 years. Isn't it time we question the ideology that's making women miserable, as Michael Knowles pointed out? When we reject the roles that families and relationships offer, when we refuse to see the value in traditional family structures, we deny the very thing that makes us human, the ability to build meaningful relationships. The more we push for ideological equality at the expense of common sense and biology, the more we risk creating a world where relationships are fractured and human connection is lost.
I got a call. I do a male-female hour on my radio show every week, and I have for about 15 to 20 years. So a woman called me. She said, I'm 50 years old. I have 3 degrees. I'm a very successful entrepreneur, CEO. And I want you to know, Dennis, that I deeply regret that I followed the feminist advice at college. Because when I come home after a successful day at work to an empty home, no husband, no children, no family, it's not good. She was not self-pitying. I actually had her call. I've written 1,000 columns. They're all on the internet, 1,000. And I never did this before or after. I transcribed her call, and that was my column that week.
Wow.
All I said was, here is what a woman said to me on my radio show.
Feminism today isn't delivering the equality it promised. Instead, it's encouraging women to reject the things that truly bring fulfillment, like family and companionship. It's time to reassess what empowerment truly means. If you agree that it's time to expose the lies of radical feminism and return to what truly empowers women, hit that like button, share this video, and subscribe to our channel. Together, we can fight for a future that uplifts and unites, not divides.